I will cook you in a pot, and from that day on, no demon or spirit can take your soul or make you scared ever again," the herbalist said. Immediately, the king became afraid. "What the hell are you saying? You want to cook me in a pot for 7 days?" he asked. "Please, my friend, you must listen to the herbalist. That is the only way you can be safe." Afam said, "I do not need people with a scared mind in my shrine. You should be prepared before stepping into my shrine," the herbalist said with anger. "I am sorry, Great One. He is just afraid of death. I am sure he can do it," Afam said. "The one who can kill should not be afraid of death." "Are you ready for the rituals?" the herbalist asked. Yeah, yeah, yeah," the king answered with great fear. Soon the herbalist brought out a strange pot from nowhere. He placed it on a very hot fire prepared by him. He then poured a large amount of water into the pot and poured another strange mixture into the pot. "Now you must walk into this pot," the herbalist instructed. The king was afraid of going at first, but Afam told him not to fear, so the king walked slowly into the pot full of water. At first, the water pot was cold, but after a few minutes, the water began boiling, and King Obinna began shouting out for help. Instead, the herbalist covered the big pot and told Afam to go and come after 7 days, so Afam left. So Afam waited patiently for the 7 days to come. So after the 7 days, Afam went back to meet the herbalist at his shrine and found out that the pot was still boiling. "Please, Great One, it has been 7 days now. I hope my friend is still alive," Afam asked. "Fear not," the herbalist said, and went close to the big pot. He opened the pot, and all the water dried out of it. The king was sitting there in the pot like a dead man. The herbalist dragged the king out of the big pot and laid him on the floor. Afam was afraid because the king was not breathing properly. Then the herbalist took a strange object and began saying some strange words, and he used the object to touch the king on his head. Then immediately the king started shaking his hands. After some minutes, the king opened his eyes and stood up like nothing had happened to him. "From today on, you are fortified with a great power. No man born of a woman or even a spiritual being can destroy you anymore," the herbalist said. "Thank you, Great One. I know you will never fail me," Afam said. "Please tell me, Great One, does it mean that my mother's ghost will never hunt me again?" the king asked. "She will still hunt you, but she cannot hurt you. Whenever she comes, just command her to go back and never return, and she will obey your command because you have greater powers than her ghost," the herbalist said. "Thank you, Great One. Please, what do I pay for this?" the king asked. "Go home and come back with your gift after 7 days," the herbalist instructed. So Afam and the king left the shrine and went straight to Afam's house. "Afam, I want to thank you for the help. I knew I was going to get solutions when I came to you." "No need for that, my friend. We have been friends all the way from childhood, and you have also been of help to me. I should be the one thanking you," Afam said. "No problem, my friend. I think I will pass the night in your house. I will begin my journey back home tomorrow immediately. My people must be waiting for me," the king said. So the king slept in Afam's house. Very early the next day, he moved and began finding his way home. While he was going, the queen immediately appeared right in front of him with great anger. Immediately the king got afraid. He shifted back and positioned himself for defense. "Why are you running from your sins? No one kills and goes free," the queen asked. The king remembered what the herbalist told him to do when the ghosts approached him again, and immediately he began speaking. "I will fear you no more. You are a dead person, and the dead have nothing to do with the living," the king fired back at the queen. "Ha ha, then today shall be your last day on earth. I will spare your life no more. You will reap what you sowed today," the queen said with anger. Then she threw something like fire from her eyes at the king. The fire went straight to the king, but it didn't affect the king at all. The queen was shocked to see that her powers could not affect the king. Ha 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 ha. I am fully prepared for you. I shall run no more, the king said with laughter. Your powers can only save you now, but you will surely pay for your sins, the queen said, throwing another strong fire at the king, but it still didn't affect the king. Ha 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 now, woman! Go back to where you came from and never return, the king commanded, and immediately the queen vanished into the air. The king was amazed by his powers. Wow, I can now control the ghost. Let's see how she comes to hunt me again. Now I can rule the kingdom forever and never be afraid again, the king said. Wow, I can now control the ghost. Let's see how she comes to hunt me again. Now I can rule the kingdom forever and never be afraid again, the king said. Then he continued his journey back, and after working for some hours, he finally entered his village. What are the villagers going to say? How are I even sure they are not aware of my secrets? The king said to himself. Even with that thought, he moved into the village with great fear, but he was shocked to see that the villagers were bowing down to him as he walked through the street. Wow, does it mean that the villagers did not suspect him of anything? He asked himself. He walked till he arrived at the palace. The palace was well assembled and clean, and all the elders were also gathered. Long live the king, the elders shouted as they welcomed the king. The king was surprised by the way everything was going smoothly, like nothing else had happened. My king, what happened the last time was a serious one, an elder said. The king walked gently and sat down on the throne. Yes, my elders, I understand that what happened last time was a serious thing, but it has been taken care of. I think the queen is angry, but she cannot do anything now, the king said. My king, you will live long, but I don't understand what you mean by it having been taken care of. A lot of evil things have happened at your back. Even Mr. Marcus, our friend, is dead, an elder said to the king. My king and 2 of my children died in the last 2 days. Their deaths have no trace. All our crops are dying also, my king. I don't think the queen is happy, another elder said. I am so sorry for what everyone is passing through, but I assure you all that the queen ghost will never torment us ever again, the king said. Immediately 2 villagers ran to the king and bowed their heads. My king, our rivers are back. The rivers are now flowing again, and it is not blood anymore, the villagers said. Wow, this is good news, the king said with great relief. Another set of villagers ran to the palace with great joy. Our king, we are happy to say that our crops are not dying anymore, and everyone is happy now, the villagers said. My elders, you can see that everything is going well in our village now. I told you all that I have taken care of our problem. The queen is just angry because we punished her for her crime. She cannot do us any harm anymore, the king said. My king, we, the elders, are so happy for the actions you have taken to save our land. You will love it long, Mr. Alfred said. This calls for celebration. Call everyone to come and celebrate our victory, the king said. Well, the queen was roaming around the village. She tried to penetrate the village, but she couldn't because King Obi had chased her ghost out of the village with his powers. Now the queen cannot come into the village, which means she cannot take her revenge against the king. But suddenly she remembered her son, Ekenna. Yes, Ekenna is the solution, she said to herself. Ekenna was staying with his friend in a neighboring village. He had heard a lot of things going on in his village, but he knew that God was the one taking revenge for the deaths of his mom and dad. Ekenna, my friend, don't you think it's high time you go back to your village? You can't stay like this forever, Ekenna's friend said. Yes, but I am not ready to go back yet. Let me just stay here peacefully for some time, Ekenna replied. Okay, my friend. Let go and get some firewood. We need that to prepare food, he said. So the both of them left and went into the bush to get some firewood. While they were fetching the firewood, the queen's ghosts appeared to Ekenna, and immediately he got afraid. Do not be afraid, my son. It is time for you to go back. the queen said. But Mom, why is the ancestor silent about your death? I have a feeling that your killer is still alive, Ikenna said. Yes, my son, your brother, and his friend Mr. Alfred are the reasons behind our deaths, the queen said. But Mother, you are a ghost now, which means you can take revenge yourself, Ikenna said. Yes, but your brother has empowered himself so much that he is more powerful than me, the queen said. How can he be more powerful than you? He is a human, and you are a ghost, Ikenna said. He is more powerful than me for now. But that is the reason you need to go home and end all this, the queen said. How? I don't have powers, Ikenna said. Don't worry, my son. You don't need powers to fight your brother, because I will be the one to do that. Your brother has stopped my ghost from coming into the village, but you can help me get into the village, and you need courage to do that. The queen said, Okay, Mother, please tell me what exactly I do, Prince Ikenna replied. You have to go back home. Here is the plan. Your brother, the king, will be getting married in the next 4 days, and as tradition demands, his wife must pass the wine to you to taste before passing it to her husband. Okay, Mother. So how does that end our problem? Ikenna asked. Here are 3 seeds. These are very powerful seeds, even more powerful than your brother. When the wine is passed to you, I want you to put one of these seeds into the cup of wine, the queen said, and she then gave Ikenna the strange seeds. What? Are you joking about this? How do you expect me to drop a seed into the royal cup during the royal marriage? Ikenna asked. My son, do not be afraid. Just be cautious and believe you can do this. So shall it be. After putting one of these seeds into the wine, immediately your brother takes the wine. His power will bow down to my power, and from there I shall come and show them my wrath, the queen said. Okay, Mother, but tell me, why did you give me 3 seeds instead of 1? Or are the seeds different from others? Ikenna asked. The seeds have no difference. I just gave you 3 so you won't misplace them all when you get to the village. Please do your best and put the seed in the royal cup when you have the opportunity, and the opportunity is that your brother will be getting married in the next 4 days, said the queen, and she vanished into the air. Ikenna, what is the problem, and who are you speaking with? Ikenna's friend asked. My mother wants me to go back to the village and face my brother, Ikenna said. Going back to the village to face your brother. Wow, that sounds interesting, but why? Yes, my brother and his friend are the people behind the deaths of my father and mother, so she is here for justice. I knew it. I knew your brother couldn't be trusted because everything was happening so fast. Ikenna, you need to do whatever your mother is telling you, Ikenna's friend said. Yes, I will be leaving first thing tomorrow morning. I pray it works. Ikenna, please don't take it too hard on yourself. Relax your mind and watch your step. And please tell me if I can help you anyway, Ikenna's friend said. Don't bother yourself, my friend. I will surely do my best, Ikenna said. And they went back home. So very early the next morning, Ikenna began his journey back to his own village. After a long walk, he arrived at his village. When he got to the palace, he saw some elders and his brother, the king. He knew what his mission was, so he acted nicely without being noticed. Long time, my dear brother. I heard about your plan of getting married in the next 3 days, so I decided to come back home and do my part in the marriage. You know I can't miss my eldest brother's marriage, Ikenna said, bowing down to his brother. What an unexpected surprise. You are welcome, my brother. Have your seat, King Obi said. You are welcome, our prince. We have long been waiting for you. You left without informing us, one of the elders said. So the day for the king's marriage came like magic. After all the preparations were made, the ceremony began. All the villagers were gathered at the palace to celebrate together with their king. Some visitors came from other villages to celebrate with the king as well. Even Afam, the king's childhood friend, was there, along with some other of his friends. Prince Ikena was sitting right next to the king as the ceremony kicked off. Some maidens from the village came to perform their dance together with the bride. The drummers were also there, beating their drums with much joy. Then it was time for the traditional ritual to begin. The bride was given a cup of wine and was instructed to give it to the Prince Ikena, and then Ikena would pass the wine to his brother, the king. Ikena knew that this was the only opportunity for him to put the strange seed into the wine. He removed the 3 seeds from his pocket and covered them in his hand. Soon the bride walked gently to Ikena's front and presented the wine to Ikena. He collected the cup of wine from the bride, but all eyes were on him. He was afraid. "How can I put this seed into this wine when everyone is watching me?" he asked himself. He raised his hand up towards the cup, but unfortunately, he got noticed by someone. "Look, everyone, Ikena is trying to poison the wine," Afam, the king's childhood friend, shouted. Soon everyone was shocked and turned to Ikena. Ikena quickly covered his hands. "No, no, please, I will never do such a thing to my brother," Ikena said with fear. The king got angry and collected the wine from his brother's hand. "So you came all the way down here to poison me?" the king asked. "No, my brother, I can't do such a thing to you," Ikena said. "He is lying." "Open your hands and see if you are truly innocent," Afam said. "He is lying." "Open your hands and see if you are truly innocent," Afam said. Soon the palace guards came and forced him to open his hands, and suddenly they found some seeds in his hands. "I told you all he was lying. He was about to put the seeds into the cup, but before I intruded," Afam said. "Great people of this village, you can see with your eyes that my own brother was trying to kill me just like our queen did to my father. Whoever tries to kill will be killed, so Ikena will be hanged to death," the king said. Mr. Alfred got up and began speaking. "My king, you are right. Ikena should be hanged to death for trying to poison the king. Since he didn't poison wine, I think we should go on with the tradition and rituals. We can't pause the marriage because of Ikena's wickedness," an elder said. So the king drank from the same cup of wine, and the marriage continued. The palace guards dragged Ikena to the prison room, where he would stay till the ceremony was finished. But Ikena was surprised about something. The queen gave him 3 seeds, but when the guards opened his hands, they found only 2 seeds. So where is the 3rd seed? So fans, where is the 3rd seed?